Hello again, fellow BeachBum traders. Thank you for joining us for part 2 of our weekly trading game plan for the trading week of October 30th through November 3rd. We're in part 2 of our weekly trading game plan. We'll be selecting our top swing trading stocks to watch, stocks in our bullpen. We'll talk about stocks and how to choose stocks for your shopping list. We'll also look at dividend payers, and we'll talk about our option strategies as additional ways to generate income while we wait for swing trading setups to manifest themselves. So let's get started. Welcome again, MD. Thank you for joining us in live chat today. Hope you're doing well. So here's Welcome Easy Mike. Thank you for joining us. So here's our Google document with our notes for part 2 of our weekly trading game plan. We keep our notes in publicly accessible Google documents. You can find a direct link to this Google document in the description box below. Our notes contain links to bonus videos, the tools and resources we use to select and trade our top swing trading stocks to watch, etc. If you haven't already seen part 1 of our weekly trading game plan for this week, October 30th through November 3rd, titled Trick or Treat from the Fed, we would highly recommend that you also view part 1, as that contains our market analysis, our strategies, trade ideas for making money trading, regardless of whether we get a trick or treat from the Fed this week. We keep all of our Google documents with our weekly trading game plan notes in a publicly accessible Google Drive folder, so you can refer back to the notes from part 1 as well as for previous weeks, and you can find a direct link to that Google Drive folder also in the description box below. Welcome to Ricky Khan. Thank you for joining us in the live chat today. Hope you're doing well. So firstly, we'll review some of our trades for this week. With the market declining, it gave us some opportunities. So we took some long positions this week, and we'll review those quickly, and then we'll look at the charts for these trades in Webull. So firstly, we went long big on JEPI. You've heard we've been watching JEPI, JEPQ in our dividend pairs Google sheet. JEPI showed up green as a possible opportunity, and we'll view that as well in the dividend pairs Google sheet. So we added this JEPI to our watch list after market close on the 26th. We went long big on JEPI on the 27th at 51.81. You'll see it did dip down a little bit after that, but again, this is a long-term swing investment. It pays about a 36-cent dividend monthly. So again, we'll hold this and wait for the S&P to eventually swing back up and collect a nice monthly dividend. You can see it's almost at 10%, so it's above the 5% for money markets, CDs, etc. So again, long-term swing, long-term investment in JEPI. We also went long again on land. We've been talking about watching land for some period of time. Land is a monthly dividend paying REIT on farmland, etc. And we went long again on the 26th at 1371. Again, it did dip down. I have a tendency to be a little bit early on these trades, and that may benefit our BeachBum trader community as we alert out our trades, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So you might be able to get into some of these trades a little bit cheaper than we did. Again, this is a long-term swing investment. It pays about a 5-cent monthly dividend. But again, as you'll see in the dividend payers Google sheet, we're looking for more price appreciation in land than just the monthly dividend. But we're happy to collect the dividend while we wait. Another REIT we've been watching for some period of time and swung profitably numerous times in the past is O, Realty Income. We went long again on the 27th at 49.01. Their ex-dividend date's coming up on the 31st, so if you want to get in, it's pretty much a Monday. You would have to get in to collect the dividend for November. Right now it's paying about 25 cents, 26%, so again, about a 6% yield. They've also got earnings coming up on the 6th. So again, things we've been watching for some period of time, and the decline in the market, and when they rotated back out of real estate, as we saw yesterday, gave us an opportunity to pick up some of these REITs that we like. We like specific REITs. Like I said, we've talked about this for some period of time. So O and Land were ones we were watching and took advantage of that opportunity. Welcome, Ellen Krantz, Flip of the Shippa. Glad to see you all this morning. Hope you're doing well. So again, just a reminder, if you'd like to get real-time alerts when we enter or exit a trade, you can get email notifications of those alerts, as well as notifications in our Discord by joining any level of our Patreon. And again, as soon as I enter or exit one of these trades, I try to post that to our Patreons. You'll get email notification. Also, again, we have a couple channels for our Patreons in our Discord. The first is a Thinkorswim alerts channel. I also have price targets set up in Thinkorswim. When those get triggered, it automatically posts to this Thinkorswim channel in our Discord. If we do follow up one of those price alerts with a trade, then I'll reply to that alert in the Thinkorswim alert channel, so you can see when we went long on Land after that price alert was triggered. Also, you'll see several other price alerts, ones that we didn't follow up on. So we saw, Ford, Lab D also had a breakdown. Here's the one on JEPI. There's O, etc. So again, if you'd like to get that information, we also have a trade alerts channel in our Discord. If a trade is not directly related to a Thinkorswim price alert, then I would post that in the trade alerts channel in our Discord. And again, any level of our Patreon will give you access to all those alerts. Again, I never recommend that you blindly follow us or anyone else into or out of a trade. Do your own due diligence, your own technical and fundamental analysis. But if this would help you make money trading, help you succeed in your trading career, to see when we're entering and exiting trades, again, you can do that. You can also find a link to our Patreon in the description box below. So let me grab a quick drink and we'll jump over and we'll look at those trades in Webull. Welcome to Crow, John. Thank you all for joining us today. Hope you all are doing well. Okay, so here's these trades in Webull. So you see JEPI. We identified it as a candidate, on Thursday after market close, as it's declining to its previous low. See, it took a dip on Friday, so we took that at 51.81. Again, it continued to decline a little bit. Looks like it's trying to pop back up, but again, this is a long-term swing, long-term investment. We'll collect that dividend while we wait for JEPI to turn back up. And you can see it's, touching that long-term support level. So again, we'll get some price appreciation, $4 price appreciation. We saw the risk, it's maybe $1, $2 risk, about $4 upside, so 2-to-1 ratio, which is what we look for. Again, the ex-dividend date, the last one was October 2nd, so we expect the next one to be around November 2nd. So again, if you want to get the November dividend for JEPI, you probably have to get in before November 2nd. In Land, we got in at $13.71. Again, that Land pays a small monthly dividend. You can see it's, dipping down to that support level. But again, we're looking at Land more for price appreciation. It's got, decent near term as well as even more long-term potential price appreciation. So again, we got in on that dip on the 26th. And you can still, get it cheaper if you're interested in Land. So again, I always like that Mark Twain quote, Land, they're not, buy land, they're not making any more of it. Okay, O, Realty Income, we got in on the 27th at 49.01. I was watching the level 2 for, a sizable bid for where the support level would be. And there's been sizable bids right at 49, which was a previous low. You can see not a whole lot of downside, and that 48, 42 was a pretty quick dip. It recovered, so it recovers that 49 level pretty quickly. Again, plenty of upside, near term into the mid 50s, 57 or so. Longer term, about 64. So plenty of price appreciation. And again, we're more interested in the price appreciation than just the 25-cent dividend. And again, the ex-dividend date is the 31st, so you need to get in on the 30th if you want to collect the November dividend. And Realty Income, again, Realty Income's a dividend aristocrat. Have very sizable real estate holdings, including, I think it's like the Bellagio or one of the main casinos they recently got. They've also got a deal to acquire some real estate in Europe. So again, well diversified. They also have a lot of convenience stores. So we're not too worried about their commercial real estate exposure. So now we'll talk about our stocks we have in our top swing trading stocks to watch list. I'll go through the updates. Again, JEPI, we added to the watch list on the 26th, went long on the 27th. So that was, pretty quick identification of the opportunity, taking advantage of that opportunity. Again, I'll show how that pops up in our dividend payers Google sheet and how you can identify those opportunities as well. We've been watching land for quite some time, so we've had it in our bullpen as it declined. Once it got to that support level, that was attractive from a risk-reward standpoint. Again, we went long on land. I'm going to take this NSA, National Storage Affiliates, off the watch list as it's continuing to break down. You'll hear the Public Storage PSA release some poor guidance. I think it was downgraded. This has been trading down in sympathy, I think, with PSA. I still like the overall thesis of storage, a REIT on storage facilities, but again, the sentiment's very negative. It's trading down, broken down. So you can hear our general thesis on NSA via the link to this previous due diligence video. And again, we'll just keep an eye. It'll show up in our dividend payers, etc., and we can watch it there for when it reaches a support and then starts to turn back up. Welcome, Sydney Osborne. Thank you for joining us. Glad to see you here as well. Again, we went long on O already, so we went long on the 27th. Again, plenty of opportunities in all three of those, JEPI, land, O. If you're not already in any of those and you're interested, again, good opportunities. You might even get a better price. So all we have remaining right now in our top swing trading stocks to watch list, our real-time watch list, is SATS, EchoStar Corporation. Again, you can hear our previous due diligence on EchoStar. Again, they've got an acquisition outstanding for Dish Network that was received pretty negatively. As you'll see, it's been kind of breaking down. I think it's partially suffering from sector rotation out of communication services. So we're kind of keeping an eye on it and see if it does bottom and swing back up. Plenty of upside potential. Also, you've got that catalyst for the acquisition. Also, yesterday we talked about wheat. We've been watching the WEAT ETF to go long wheat. We got stopped out of our previous long position, hoping for a little bit of dip to go long again wheat. We saw yesterday in the futures how it's been kind of consolidating, forming a bottom, and so we're looking for a longer term swing again in wheat. Again, if you'd like to get price targets information, ex-dividend information, optionality, dividend yield, etc., as well as more frequent updates to our watch list, we have an automatically generated web page with the price targets, etc., that gets generated each evening. and you can get access to that automatically generated web page by joining any level of our Patreon. If I make a change to our watch list after that web page has been generated, then I would update that in the Stocks Watch List channel in our Discord, which again are any level of our Patreon will give you access to. So again, if you'd like additional information about our watch list, more frequent updates, you can get access to that via any level of our Patreon. So now let me grab another quick drink and we'll jump over to, actually we can do SATS and WEAT real quickly in Webull. So again, as you can see in Webull, one of the nice features is you can have all kinds of different watch lists. So I can quickly flip over to our main watch list. So here's SATS. Again, you can see it's breaking down. I lowered our price target down to a previous low. So again, right around that long-term support. So we'll see if it comes back down to that support or if it bounces back up and regains that 14 level for a potential swing back up. So again, we're just looking for SATS to find a bottom, swing back up. Again, you can see it's got plenty of upside up to 2480 or so. Again, wheat previous bottom was 555, so we got stopped out on the previous bounce up and roll over. We see that pivots around 573 or so. So somewhere between that 573 and 555, you can see it bounces pretty quickly when it bottoms. So somewhere in there, 561. I've been watching the level 2 and that 570 level seems to catch a bid. Also the 560, 561 seems to catch a bid. So somewhere in that range, we may well go long on wheat. Okay, now I'll grab a quick drink and we'll go over our bullpen stocks. Just a quick reminder, if you're not already using Webull, you can get up to 12 free stocks by opening and funding an account in Webull. As you see, we use Webull for our market analysis, our due diligence, the majority of our trading. They also offer 5% interest on uninvested cash in your cash account. So again, if you're not already using Webull, it's our favorite trading platform. We recommend it, and if you join with our affiliate link in the description box below, you'll get your free stocks as well as help support our BeachBum Trading YouTube channel and community, which we always greatly appreciate. Now we'll talk about our bullpen stocks. Our bullpen stocks, if you're new to our channel community, are ones that we're not generally watching real time, but I revisit this list at the end of each day. These are ones that I've identified that sometime in the near future may present an attractive swing trading setup opportunity. So I revisit this list at the end of each day, see if the setup has improved. If so, we put them in the game, move them up to our top swing trading stocks to watch list. If they run away or break down, then we just take them out of the bullpen. And again, these are longer term opportunities that we're just watching at the end of each day. Now, some of these I am keeping a more close eye on, looking for a possible turn, swing back up. We've talked about real estate for some period of time. As you see, we've got some of the REITs that we prefer, but we talked about the seasonal rotation, and we've seen that sector rotation attempt back into real estate. Again, we're just waiting for the bottom. Again, sentiment's pretty negative. So each rally we've seen in real estate's been rejected so far, but eventually that'll bottom and turn. So we're looking at DRN. It's a leveraged long on real estate. LTC is a healthcare facilities REIT on senior living. It's one we've traded profitably before. I'm not sure if we're going to take another REIT right now, but if you're interested in that thesis of senior living REIT, you might like LTC. Another one that popped up from our ETF Google sheet is MJ. So we saw that run up on the federal legalization push for banking for cannabis. MJ, MSOS both ran up. Well, they've come back down, so it's kind of trailing down. There is a discussion again on legalization. I guess the new House Speaker doesn't really like legalization of cannabis, so there's some tug of war going on there. But that would be a future catalyst. So we're watching MJ, also MSOS, but MSOS is a little bit higher. Talked about MP Materials. MP Materials been trailing back off. I was tempted to put it back up in the watch list, but it seems to be bouncing around. So rather than flip it back and forth from the bullpen to the watch list, we are keeping an eye on MP. I'll show you where the previous low was. If you want to hear our thesis on why we like MP Materials, you can hear more about that via the link to this previous due diligence video in the notes or on our BeachBum Trading YouTube channel. Welcome, Walter Lyons, the Crow. If I missed you previously, thank you for joining us. Hope you all are doing well. We've also been talking about the seasonal rotation into retail. So towards the end of the year, retail tends to make an upswing as we go into Black Friday, Cyber Monday. The holiday season tends to be positive for retail. It's continuing to trail off right now, so we're just patiently waiting as we get closer to that Black Friday, end of November. We expect retail to swing back up. So we're watching that trend using RETL. Again, you want to watch for the bottom or support in XRT, which is the sector spider for retail. Similarly, we've talked about seasonal rotation into small caps. As we saw yesterday, the IWM, the Russell has been severely beaten down, still significantly downtrending. So when we do see that rotation back into the Russell, into IWM, our play would be to swing that up with a leveraged ETF TNA. We talked about yesterday, the Crow pointed out TZA is the short, so short-term trading. TNA, TZA, you can trade those short-term volatility in small caps using those leveraged ETFs. Similarly, we've talked about the rotation into utilities. Again, we saw risk off. They tend to rotate into utilities. You can trade that long using UTSL. We did point out an ETF in the ETFs Google sheet to short utilities. We're looking for that longer term swing in utilities. Just to go back to the Russell IWM, in my humble opinion, this may not manifest itself until early next year because as we get towards the end of the year, we're also going to see tax loss harvesting, which will put downward pressure on any big losers for the year. And then we also see this rotation into the early next year where people pick up the biggest losers, expecting them to outperform the following year. So again, some of these trends are longer term trends that we're watching, and they may not manifest themselves for some period of time, which is one of the reasons I've left them in the bullpen stocks versus moving them up to our top swing trading stocks to watch list. So now we'll look at those charts in our bullpen stocks in Webull. Okay, so here's our bullpen watch list. So again, we talked about retail. Again, as you can see, or that's real estate. So again, downtrending, continuing to, downtrend. We're just waiting for that, swing back up in real estate, some volatility. So again, they've tried to rally real estate occasionally. So you can watch that in the groups tab in FinViz, also in our sectors tab, in our Google Sheet when they rotate into retail or into real estate. You can take advantage of that with DRN, the short in real estate, DRV. I know several of our BeachBum traders trade that volatility using those ETFs. Talked about LTC as healthcare, senior living. You can see, the last low was around 30. It's now approaching that. Not too far from that. I was tempted again to move that to our watch list. But again, I can watch that in our bullpen, etc. Also in our dividend payers Google Sheet as well. Again, we talked about that, decline now in cannabis. So we got that, pop recently in cannabis. Back August ran up. Now it's come back down. It's actually broken down below its previous low. Previous low was about 284. So we're watching for where's that going to bottom. It could continue to trail off. If we do see a pop, you can take advantage of that pop using, again, MJ or MSOS. MP Materials, you can see the previous low was 1618. It's now, sitting right at that support level, right about 1646 or so. We're just trying to see if that's going to hold. You can see it bounces pretty quickly when it capitulates. So again, we are closely watching MP and would be interested in a long position in MP. It's got plenty of upside. But again, just downward pressure generally in basic materials and the markets as a whole. Again, we talked about that trend in retail. So you can see it's very close to its previous low. Again, you want to watch XRT for the bottom, and then you can play long retail with RETL. So I put XRT in here. You can see XRT has, further downside to go, maybe holding the support. So that's what we want to see. Is XRT going to hold, or is it going to break down to that previous low? And when it swings back up, then we'll take that swing with RETL. Again, we talked about small caps, TNA, again, severely declining right now. We want to watch the IWM when it bottoms and swings back up. We'll play that with TNA. Also utilities, talked about that. It's bounced back up again every time we get a flight to safety. Utilities, they've been rotating into utilities. It's a little strange since the utilities don't really pay a high dividend, but again, that's just a knee-jerk reaction on flight to safety. They go into utilities. You also see a bond and a U.S. dollar pop on flight to safety, as well as into the Magnificent Seven, and we talked about all that again yesterday. So yeah, Easy Mike says XRT, give it time. Again, that's why we're patiently waiting. We know the seasonal trend as we get closer again to the holidays. The tendency is for retail to swing back up, and so we're patiently waiting for that. In terms of our shopping list stocks, again, if you're new to our community, the concept is have your shopping list ready of the stocks you always want to buy, be it for a long-term swing, an investment, dividend generation, etc. Have your list ready. As we saw the past week, the markets decline. Some of the ones we've been watching, JEPI, JEPI, and are ones that I would consider, shopping list stocks given the environment, and we took advantage of dips in those to go long in those areas. Our only caveat is beware of zombie companies, zombie stocks, those that have high debt, those that are susceptible to the raising interest rates, the high interest rates, if they're having to refinance their debt, short-term debt. Again, they're all going to be susceptible. Also, we talked about small businesses, bankruptcies in small businesses is increasing, expected to continue to increase. So in our humble opinion, stay away from zombie stocks, zombie companies, zombie ETFs, and you can hear more about what those are and how to avoid them in the links to these videos in our notes. Okay, now we'll talk about dividend payers, and I had a question from John about OPP. So I'll open this up, and then I want to address that question from John on OPP, and we'll look at OPP in a little bit more detail. And I didn't capture the details of the question that John had about OPP. But again, this is a dividend payer that we've traded profitably in the past, and he asked to take a look at OPP, so we'll take a look at that a second. And then if anybody else has any additional dividend payers you want to take a look at, if you throw those up in the chat, then we can take a look at those as well. So you can see in our dividend payers Google sheet, we go down to OPP, you can see it's showing as attractive. It's got a 10% monthly dividend. You can see the risk reward profile. So it's not really got, doesn't look like a high volatility, and the risk reward of price appreciation is decent, but not excessive. So again, you can see the risk-reward profile. It's pretty close to support. So again, risk-reward profile looks pretty good. The reason I don't like OPP and why we're not watching it is what the basis of OPP is. So we'll open this up in FinViz. And again, you can see in the notes column in our dividend payers Google sheet, you can quickly access the FinViz profile for any of these stocks by just clicking on that link. So this is River North Double Line Strategic Opportunity Fund. You can see it's a closed-end fund and it's debt-based, and that's what I don't like about OPP. We used to watch OPP back in June. Earlier this year, traded it profitably back in that time frame. Again, you can hear our game plans back from the June time frame and see our trades in OPP previously. Again, it's the reason it's probably attractive to a lot of people is this 17.9% dividend yield. It is not optionable. And if we look at the chart, it's been in steep decline. And again, we'll see the reason for that steep decline is because it's debt-based. So if we look at their profile here, we could see it's a mutual fund and aggregate bond index. So with that significant decline in bond prices, obviously that has negatively impacted OPP. Whether bonds are at their bottom of price, top in yield is still an outstanding question that we've talked about. But again, OPP is going to continue to feel pressure from declining bond prices. Another thing I wanted to show you on OPP is if you click on their link to go to their home page, you can get more information. Again, it's a closed-end fund, so you're not going to get any financials in FinViz, but you can look at their web page and see what it's comprised of and also its performance. So again, you can see their performance has been pretty poor. It's got just slightly positive for the year, but again, negative performance. And it's comprised of, you see some high, about 30% high yield, 30% investment grade, but a lot of small business. So small and medium business, and those are the ones, again, that are suffering from the high interest rates and are more likely to go, out of business, go into bankruptcy. So again, a number of reasons I don't really like OPP at this time, given the decline in bond prices, high bond yields, and potentially bonds going up again in yield, down in price. Again, it's going to put further downward pressure on OPP and those like them. So therefore, I don't really like debt-based REITs, etc. in general, or companies. And again, the fact that it's a closed-end fund makes it difficult to see details of their financials. So I hope that answers your question about OPP, John. Again, in the past, we liked it before the bond yields, went crazy, before the bond prices, fell off a cliff. And again, in the future, when bonds stabilize, OPP might be something that we find attractive, but just not at this time. So again, I hope that answers your questions. If you have further follow-up questions about OPP or any other stocks, feel free to put those in the comments, contact us in our Discord, etc. And again, we hope that all helps. So again, if anybody else has a dividend payer that you'd like to look at, please throw that up in the chat and we can do that. Let me grab a quick drink. Welcome, Douglas PC. Thank you for joining us. Just a quick reminder, if you'd like access to this dividend payers Google Sheet 24/7 to look up potential dividend payers that are fit your strategy for dividends, generate a calendar, a schedule of collecting dividends. You can get access to this dividend payers Google Sheet, as well as our ETFs Google Sheet and our puts ROIC Google Sheet by joining our Patreon at the all access or VIP levels. So, and again, this is how I found the opportunities in JEPI, etc. We can see land. So if I jump up to JEPI, JEPI, you see it started showing up as green. So we've been watching JEPI, JEPQ. JEPQ is based on the NASDAQ, so its risk reward profile is not nearly as attractive right now. I know others, go into both of these just, to follow the NASDAQ or the S&P. Looking at, they're relatively stable. So if you're just looking for the dividend, JEPQ actually pays a little bit higher monthly dividend. But again, right now it's got, less price appreciation, but it actually has a better, yield in general. So again, when that turned green, I took a look at it, saw that the risk reward profile was very attractive at the current time. Again, it's only got, maybe $4 or so of upside. So again, we'll swing it up when it maxes out. If the S&P peaks out and starts to roll over, then we'll take our monthly dividends from JEPI and let it go. Talked about LTC, again, pays a monthly dividend of 19. MJ pays a small dividend, but that's not really, we're in that for price appreciation. Again, you can see it's going to go ex-dividend on 1031. So you can see, the risk reward profiles of Talked about OPP. Land, I want to see if land will show up in here. Let's see if they don't show their corporate actions. So we'd have to look for the previous dividend payment for land. For some reason, E-Trade's reporting an erroneous ex-dividend date. So if I go out on land, looks like 9/19. So it's like 10/19. So 11/19 would be the expected next ex-dividend date on land. So again, you can see those that pop up in green says they're close to their support level, and then you can look at the categories. Again, if I see, bond-based, debt-based like OPP, it's not something I'm terribly interested in right now. Talked about LTC. Jets. Douglas, are you looking at Jets for a dividend pay or for a ETF for a swing trade? I don't think I have Jets in as a dividend payer. Again, you can see in our ETF spreadsheet, it doesn't look like it pays a dividend. Yeah, you can see that steep decline. So again, you can watch the risk reward profile of Jets in our ETF Google Sheet. So I hope that helps. If anyone else has another dividend payer you'd like us to do research on, I also saw this pill showing up, but its yield's pretty small. Also, this is on pharmaceuticals, and that's sentiment in pharmaceuticals very negative, so I discarded that. See, retail, RETL pays a small dividend, but not significant. I know Easy Mike likes SAR. So asset management, again, pretty stable, pays a nice quarterly dividend, 71 cents quarterly. Again, we've been watching TLT, TLTW. Again, we're waiting for that, bottom and swing back up in the treasuries in TLT. Again, it looks like it may be forming a bottom, and there may be a swing opportunity. If you want to then collect dividends, we're going to compare TLT, TLTW. And BDY, yes, that's a recent dividend payer on NVIDIA. So we talked about some of these recently. I don't have that one. It's relatively new. We do have APLY, is one of the Yield Max ETFs, and we did a video not too long ago on some of the Yield Maxes that are coming out on the various individual stocks. Okay. So again, if anybody wants us to look at any other dividend payers, just let us know. If you'd like to know more about how this dividend payers, how you can use this dividend payers Google Sheet to put together your strategy, your calendar of dividends, generate income while you're waiting for swing trade opportunities to manifest themselves, we have a whole series of videos that talks about that on how to find the best dividend payer stocks. And you can access that via the link in our notes and also find them on our BeachBum Trading YouTube channel. Now we'll talk about our option strategies in addition to dividend payers. Another strategy you can use to generate essentially your own dividends is by selling and buying back options. In our case, we sell covered calls. When a position that we currently hold is going up, we buy them back when it's coming back down. Conversely, we sell cash secured puts when a stock's going down, buy them back when it's going back up, and essentially, again, generate kind of our own dividends by doing so. And we'll go look at our dividends, our puts ROIC Google Sheet as well, which we use to help us identify potential opportunities to sell puts or buy them back. And again, you can get access to this puts ROIC Google Sheet 24/7 by joining our Patreon at the All Access or VIP levels. So here's our main watch list of puts. You can see several of these are actually below the strike price that we've identified. You can see the ROICs. So, really you want something over 5-6% because otherwise I'm just better off keeping it in a money market account, collecting my 5%. We see Generac, has significantly declined. Several of these strikes I may need to adjust downward. Disney is pretty close, but that at that price it's only 3%, so there's not a whole lot showing terribly attractive. Although with the increased VIX, the VIX over 20, hopefully some of the implied volatilities will increase, the premiums will increase, and some of these opportunities may be more attractive. Again, you can also use this Google Sheet to identify short-term scalping options. So if you see ROIC that's attractive and you want to do a quick scalp, on a bounce in Disney, you can also use this Google Sheet to identify those opportunities. Green showing it's going down might be attractive to sell puts. Red, it's going back up. Buy back if you're already sold one. Again, on the research tab, I've got additional ones that we've done previous research on. So I look at both of these sheets. You can see, Albemarle's pretty close. It had broken down below. I'd lowered that strike price. See, it's got about a 5% ROIC. This Estee Lauder was broken down significantly below that strike price. So probably lower that one. Also GM, and there was some negative news, additional UAW strikes on GM, so probably need to lower that. But again, if you want to play the bounce, sell that put and expect GM to rebound on them getting a deal with UAW. Again, you can see the pricing for those puts in our Google Sheet. So the white columns, again, are based on Google Finance Functions, so they update near real time. There's about a 20-minute delay. And then the gray columns, I have an automated system that collects the options data, and then it updates at the end of each day. So you can see the high, lows, etc. for the previous day, and then sell or buy back your options accordingly. So I hope that all helps. And again, if you'd like us to do research, look at any particular options and for potential addition to our puts ROIC Google Sheet, just put that in the comments below or in our Discord, or contact us via social media and give us the ticker and the strike price and the expiration you want to look at. We can plug that into our systems and collect that data for you in our Google Sheet. We also have a series of videos on how you can use this puts ROIC Google Sheet for your option strategies. You can access that via the link in our notes. Also, we have an options playlist on various techniques for making money trading options, like how to sell covered calls, buy them back in E-Trade, Webull, etc. And you can find that in our options playlist. Okay, let me grab a quick drink. I've got a few minutes to answer any questions. We can look at some additional stocks. If I missed your question before, please throw it back up in the chat. Something I learned and noticed yesterday is YouTube does cut off the chat, so I can't always go back all the way and see previous questions, as it cuts off a certain number of messages. So again, I apologize if I missed your question before or your ticker you want to look at, but please put that back up in the chat and we can take a quick look at those. Okay. Guys are having a good discussion. We've got a great community here in our live chats and our Discord. Again, just a reminder, our Discord's free to join. And it'll give you access to, just with the exclusion of the couple channels I mentioned that are Patreon only. Can continue these discussions, ask us questions about further stocks, etc. in our Discord. You can also find an invite to our Discord in the description box below. Also in the links section to our homepage, beachbumtrading.com, bum without the U. And you can also find links there to all of our social media sites. So again, if you'd like us to do due diligence on additional stocks, if you have a question, a recommendation of how we can help you make money trading, succeed in your trading career, and contact us on any of our social media sites. Again, you can always put it in the comments to our videos. And again, we'd love to hear your feedback on how we can improve our weekly trading game plans, our other videos and content, our tools, our systems, our community, to add more value for all of our BeachBum traders. So please let us know what we can do to help you make money trading, help you succeed in your trading career. We'll see what we can do to accomplish those things. Okay. Again, if anybody has a last minute topic or stock you want to look at, please throw that up in the chat. Again, I apologize if I missed your comment earlier. Again, thank you all for participating, all for watching, and we hope you have a great trading week this October 30th through November 3rd. We hope you'll come back next weekend for our next weekly trading game plan. So good luck and have a great trading week. Thank you again.